I think I've started out the last 3 or 4 years with this series because it always comes out in January, the new book, and I love it. Hi guys, it's April, and I'm going to do this review the same way I do all of my other reviews. I'm going to have the non-spoiler section up front, followed by the spoiled filled dump afterwards, in case you don't want to spoil yourself. But of course, if you do decide to, I won't judge you. I'm just excited that you're here. So let's talk about Where the Drowned Girls Go by Seanan McGuire. This is book, I can't remember what number in the Wayward children's series. I absolutely adore this series. It is the stories of children who have gone through magical doors, magical portals, however you want to look at it, and they've come back and they're not quite adjusting to normal life as the world thinks they should. So in the past, we've gotten a lot of stories about these children going back into their worlds again, dealing with other issues. There are a lot of dark topics that get covered in this series, but it's done in such a way that it feels almost fairy tale-esque. You've got this innocence right next to these hard realities that all of these children seem to have to go through. This story specifically centers around Cora, who had gone to a world called the Trenches and had become a mermaid. And so she has gone on in several of the other books and seen some of the other worlds and is dealing with the consequences of those past adventures. And it leads her to make the decision to go to a different school than all of these other books take place in. Here, for the first time, we get to see the White Thorn. They claim to be the sister school, but they are a school that hopes to make these children normal so they can go back to society. Whereas where they were currently at, they were allowed to just be who they were. Cora is running from something she wants to forget, so she makes the decision to go to Whitethorn, and this is her story. We do get to see some past characters. Last year, we got the book Across the Green Grass Fields, and we met Reagan. Here, we get to see the continuation of Reagan's story and how Cora and her story cross paths. This one is a little, I don't want to say this one is darker than the other stories because some of the other stories are pretty dark, but this one is dealing more with conforming to society. This is looking to be normal. This one is all of the consequences of bullying and how mentally that can mess children up. And in reality, what and who are we always looking to be, and when are we okay with ourselves? So I liked this story because it takes a look into some of those mental triggers and what happens and how certain people deal with those in different ways. It is hard to read, especially Cora's story and how she ultimately dealt with a lot of things, but it also is a story of hope, which all of these stories are, which is why I like them so much. They are written in a younger voice. They are written as dark fairy tales, but I think they all just hold messages that I think are so phenomenal, mostly about being okay with being yourself and accepting yourself for who you are and just being a hero in whatever that means. So, if you have been reading any of this series up until this point, highly recommend this read. Like I always recommend these reads, this series. The series is just something that I almost wish I had growing up because it takes a look at so many different things, and I just enjoy them because they speak the way I like to listen. Oh, I didn't realize there was just a little broken part in my book. That makes me a little sad. Anyways, this is the point in my review in which I am going to switch over to some more spoiled filled thoughts. So if you don't want to spoil yourself, this is the point in which you go out, you read the book, and you come back and we start a conversation because I need to talk about it. What I enjoyed most about the book is the fact that Cora and Reagan and how their paths overlapped Both of them were trying to find a normal because they thought their current situation, it couldn't get any worse. But of course, after they came to Whitethorn, they kind of started realizing that that is not the case, because the way that Whitethorn works is you're supposed to deny yourself. You're supposed to get to this point in which you completely washed out any of your underlying personality. You've become the cookie cutter that everyone assumes society wants, and you just go on with your life. But the question is, not everybody does that. So what happens to the children that don't give up their doors? And we get to see from a different perspective, because in all of the previous books in the school, we get to see them kind of finding a home, finding a place, being comfortable and learning from that. And Whitethorn is the exact opposite of that. Whitethorn is denying yourself and not necessarily finding a home, but being a productive member of society, and whatever the heck that means. We see Reagan pushing back against that so hard. We see Cora, who has dealt with a lot of bullying and has made some attempts on her own life because of that. We see her wanting and desiring that normal. And there are children in this school whose doors were so horrific that this is the path that makes the most sense to them. But at the same time, we've also got children in this school whose parents have forcefully put them there because their parents want that normal, not necessarily their very special and amazing children that they got. And to see all of that play out, and Cora coming to the realization of accepting who she is and the fact that she gets to choose whether or not she can go with the drowned gods or if she can sit there and wait for her door to come back, I think is such a great underlying story. That message right there is just beautiful. And the fact that Sumi is willing to go into all of this because she understands that, hey, at some point, all of this is sitting waiting for me. I don't really have a lot to lose, but you are my friend. You have helped me in the past. Let me help you. As much as I sort of understand but don't understand, I accept you for who you are. So let me embrace you with open arms. Sumi is such an amazing character. I love her to death. These stories are always so short, but they're always so impactful and amazing. I don't know how to describe this unless of course you've read them. And in that case, I would love to hear your thoughts on this book and what you took away from it. Tell me down below so we can start a conversation. Otherwise, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, hit that bell, do all of the things to get all of the notifications, and I heart you beautiful faces. Bye.